joining us from Wolf Point, Montana. With Tikkun Olam. We've got Morgan now with us on the show. Morgan, thank you so much for calling in this morning. Morgan Elliott, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me this morning.
So Tikkun Olam, did I pronounce it right? And tell us what Tikkun Olam stands for.
Yeah, you're really close. It's Tikkun Olam, so a little bit different first word, but it is a Hebrew phrase, and it embodies the idea of small acts of kindness to repair the world. And my parents were over in Israel several years ago, and they lived up in Wolf Point up here, and they heard that phrase and the idea of, it's just the little things that every day you can make a choice for, and really can make a big difference and repair the world that we're in. And just thought, man, that's really what we need to do up there. And so, unfortunately, my mom passed away in 2016, and kind of in response from her accident and what she was doing up on the reservation, we created this organization to really try and embody that idea and to bring more people up there like her who just every day try and make little choices to make it a little bit better up there.
That sounds like such a great phrase, Tikkun Olam, and I know I'm probably still pronouncing it wrong slightly. I'm putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable here again, but it reminds me of kind of Hakuna Matata, which is not just from Lion King. It's actually what people will oftentimes say if you travel to East Africa, and it means no worries, basically. Oh, no worries, no problem, But that is a fascinating phrase that hopefully this phrase will stick in people's minds, and this concept will stick in people's minds throughout the Christmas and holiday season here. So tell us more about your mom. And first off, I know I know it's still probably so close to the time of her loss, and so I know folks are thinking about you and praying for you in that regard. But also how incredible that you can now lead an organization in her honor and in her memory. So your mom, tell us a little bit more of her story. Jana Elliott, she was a teacher in and around Wolf Point. Tell us a little bit about her story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot. It is always a hard time of the year, but getting to talk about her and what we're doing is just one of the greatest gifts and best way to carry on her legacy. So I sure enjoy it. But she was a teacher, a sixth grade teacher up in Wolf Point, and she was a foster care parent. She just basically gave her life really to helping the kids and serving in the community she lived in. We're not originally from Wolf Point. We lived in Colorado, and she raised my brother and I, and once we were out of the house and doing our own thing, she followed my dad up to Wolf Point. He did some work up there, and really just a God story of bringing her up there at the right time, the right place, and just kind of amazing. She only lived there for a little over 2 years, and the amount of people and families that she affected, they still talk about her, and they still have really great things to say. And so I know it doesn't take long to make a big difference, especially in communities like that. And so we really just thought, man, if she could make such an impact in such a little bit of time, and the role that she played, how awesome would it be if we could recruit more people to come up here and kind of follow in her footsteps. So what we did and decided was our best avenue is housing is kind of difficult up in Wolf Point and kind of on the reservation, and my parents especially bumped around to 2 or 3 different houses until they found a place that they really fit in. And so we decided as an organization to purchase a handful of houses, and we go out on the road and we start recruiting people who come up and teach for us. And so we incentivize them by providing their housing for them, taking care of their utilities. But more than that, we establish a community and a family unit that they can really depend on. And so we have this kind of community living atmosphere, and then we help get them hired on through the public school system. So they still have to have, accreditation and certificates, and still have to be people who want to teach. But the school district is always in need of teachers. It's something not just our district, struggles with, but rural communities and across the country, have been struggling a lot lately to get good candidates to come and teach for them. And so that's how we've tried to kind of recruit people. It's been successful so far. Our first year we had 3 teachers. Our second year we had 6 teachers. We're up to 10 now, individuals who are working in the community. We started a daycare this last year, which has been a really big endeavor for us. And that was really to target foster care families and foster care kids. So we went after having a licensed facility that the state could help fund so that foster care kids had a place to go. So
that's
we're
really
trying
remarkable.
every year to encourage more people to be involved in those things.
Well, you talk about the teacher shortage in rural Montana, and it's definitely an issue. But like you say, yeah, all across the country. In fact, I remember seeing an Associated Press story earlier in the year where there's such a shortage of teachers in rural parts of not only Montana, but elsewhere across the country that they're actually bringing in teachers from places like the Philippines and things like that just to try to get teachers into rural areas. And so everybody's looking for all sorts of ideas, all sorts of options outside the box to help address this. But so when did you guys start when did you start this organization in Wolf Point then, and how successful has it been so far in helping, at least with teachers trying to serve our rural communities and especially our reservations here in Montana?
Yeah, so it's kind of blossomed a lot quicker and more than we thought, and we're excited about that. So we're just kind of hanging on, trying to do the best we can. My mom's accident was in July of 2016, and so we spent the rest of that year and the following spring, really basically taking care of our family and trying to figure out what God had in store for us, and then going through the process of creating a 501c3, which just takes some time. But that fall of 2017 was our first year, and like I said, we had 3 teachers that year. The following semester, or the following school year, we were able to recruit 4 more teachers, and then this year we've recruited more. There's 3 more individuals up there, but like I said, we've created a daycare, and so one of our teachers stepped down from her teaching position to take up the mantle for the daycare, and she's done phenomenally, and just really it's awesome to see her find a role that she's so effective and find so much joy doing, and just having the kids, because we see a lot of deficits in our kindergarten and first grade. Just they're already so far behind when they get into school, and so being able to try and come into a community and create an opportunity that some of these kids can maybe get a leg up, or even just learn how their alphabet before they go into kindergarten. That makes a huge difference. So it's just been shy of 3 years, and we're amazed to see how God continues to bless it and continue to let us grow.
So what can our listeners do either to help Tikkun Olam or maybe to help do similar efforts in other parts of the state?
Yeah, it's a great idea, and long term, we really hope that we can mirror our organization or to grow into other communities, because we do think teachers spend 8+ hours with students every day, and they really get involved, and it's a great way to interact with a breadth of students and to be that security blanket for them and just a listening ear. And so we're hoping to grow, but as if you wanted to do something right now, today or this year, we're always looking for individuals who have a passion to help out. If you do have any interest of coming out, we do kind of groups throughout the summer that come out and help. We'll do kind of mission trip kind of projects. But also if you want to come teach, or you want to be a student, a para, teacher's aide, we don't have to necessarily have a teaching degree to work for us. 4-year degrees is really the minimum requirement. Obviously, we'd love to recruit, well-certified teachers, but honestly, sometimes you just need a loving and compassionate heart and someone who's patient to work with the kids. So if you know anybody or are personally, drawn to helping out on the reservation or helping out in the schools, definitely check out our website. You can always contact me individually. Our website is repairaourworld.org, so we try to keep it pretty simple. And then for those who don't necessarily have the means to basically uproot their lives and come live in Wolf Point with us, there's always financial burdens that we have as an organization. We really try and take the burdens ourselves and not put it on our teachers to fund the housing and find grants that we are applicable to. And really we help out in the community where we host several different dinners and luncheons throughout the year. We help get snacks or things to students that we think are maybe struggling to get a well-rounded diet. And so there's just obviously financial burdens that come along with that. So you can also donate online at that website, just repairaourworld.org, and you can learn a little bit more about us.
Yeah, repairaourworld.org. It's a lot easier than trying to spell out in Google search Tikkun Olam, so repairaourworld.org. Only a couple minutes left here as we talk with Morgan Elliott from Wolf Point, and I know you can't really get into it and summarize it in full in just a couple of minutes, unfortunately, but just talk about the importance of this program because of, the unique challenges for teachers, particularly in rural Montana and on reservations, and why programs like this are so important?
Yeah, I think a lot of us who haven't been exposed, myself included, until I moved up there, we can't really appreciate the tragedies and the circumstances that these kids have to endure. They're so rugged and they just endure, and I just commend them as individuals, like what they live through. We really can't appreciate it if you haven't lived there. And so teachers quickly learn, what normal kids, I'll put my air quotes around that, what normal kids have to deal with. Maybe they didn't get a good night's sleep, or maybe they didn't get a good enough breakfast, or maybe they ran late for the bus. Those are just minuscule problems that our kids can't even comprehend because they don't have a warm house. They don't have running water. They haven't showered in, a week and a half. They have lice that's just continually aggravating. And these are real problems that when you're worried more about how you're going to sleep at night, if you're going to be warm enough, if you're getting food, you don't care if you take home your homework. You don't care if you pass the test the next day because you have real physical needs that draw your every ounce of energy. So our teachers figure that out pretty quick. And so just the standards of living and the standards of expectations in the classroom is really different and really challenging. And this is such a need why you need people that just want to give their heart and give their time to these kids, to take them home after school, to maybe fix lunch for them, bring them over for dinner, celebrate their birthday. Some of these kids don't have people that'll celebrate their birthday with them.
Wow.
So
and to support the teachers too is key, because we know that especially starting entry-level teachers that you would typically try to recruit to fill some of these jobs, we lack compared to our neighboring states in what we pay entry-level teachers, so that makes it more of a challenge as well. Well, Morgan, Elliott, we greatly appreciate what you're doing. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us here on Montana Talks, and Merry Christmas to you and yours and all our friends there in Wolf Point especially.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the time and wish you a Merry Christmas as well.